Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 6 of Asking for a Friend.
Nice.
Today's question's a big one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Our question is, what's the deal with Snapchat?
Whew. Well,
oh boy.
I want to start by saying this is really important to get out of the way at the start. Every family is going to make their own choice about whether or not you have Snapchat.
And we respect that.
Respect that. That's between you and your parents, and for you guys to have a conversation about, or maybe your parents didn't have a conversation, they just told you no.
Yes.
Whatever your parents' choice is about Snapchat, that's for you and your family.
However, we do think that everyone can stand to learn more about it, right?
Absolutely.
If we're going to use something or not use something, we should know why.
Right.
So that's what we're here to talk about today, is why we think that Snapchat is maybe not a great choice for you.
Yeah, I think it's probably not a great choice.
It's not a great choice.
Yeah.
It's not a great choice.
Yeah.
There's quite a few reasons.
There's a lot
and we're going to get
reasons.
into them.
I think the first reason that we want to come to is this. There's a lot of explicit and what we would consider to be like dangerous content that exists on Snapchat. And we're not just talking about like your friends that you're snapping with. We're talking about people and influencers who are putting all kinds of things on Snapchat that you have access to, or even being like bombarded with, right? Like Snapchat doesn't just want you to text your friends through Snapchat. They want you to interact with people that are like making money. And so like there's that whole angle. So there's no telling what kind of explicit or dangerous content you might run into when you're like discovering other things on Snapchat.
Here's the root problem with Snapchat, though, is that it was created, its purpose, and the reason that it's different from any other form of social media is that you send something, a graphic image, usually an image, and that thing goes away, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, which it doesn't go away, but it goes away, right? So its sole intent is to allow you to be secretive. And I think
what's so dangerous about that secretiveness, though? Like, what does that do to you as a person when you have access to like secretive communication like that?
It does a lot, right? It gives you the freedom and confidence to act in a way that no one is going to see.
That's dicey.
That is setting yourself up for trouble. It's setting yourself up for failure, right? Yeah. In your relationships and in your communication with people that you may know or you may not know.
Right.
Either way, it's still dicey.
Right. And also not just your communication with them, but also their communication back with you.
Absolutely, right?
There might be somebody in your life who seems like the nicest person and is so amazing and whatever, but then on Snapchat, maybe they're not that same person because they don't have to be. There's no accountability there. And the funny thing is like kids might say, I would have said this when I was a kid, well, the Bible doesn't tell you not to have Snapchat.
Yes.
But wait.
But wait.
I think it might actually tell us not to have Snapchat. Okay. So just go with me here. We're going to go to the book of Luke, chapter 12. Jesus is talking about being on guard against the Pharisees, right? He calls the Pharisees like yeast, meaning like sin that expounds and expands over time. And this is what he says to the people as he's telling them to be careful of these like sinful group of people.
Yeah.
He says, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. Here's the thing. There's going to come a point where whatever you're doing in secret is going to come out. And you know what? It might not be until when you stand before Jesus one day, but at some point, whatever you're doing in secret, whatever you think you're doing that nobody knows about, it's going to come out eventually. And the likelihood that it's going to come out in real time in front of your parents, in front of other friends, in front of your core group leader is really high.
Yeah.
People are going to find out what you're doing because it's going to start impacting the way that you live your life.
Absolutely.
And they're going to notice that something is off, and they're going to ask you about it. And eventually it's going to come down to, well, I've been snapping this person or this group of people, or I saw these things and I can't stop watching, or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, because when you act like a person so consistently and regularly, your heart starts to become that person, right?
Absolutely.
It starts to bleed into every other area of your life. That's your family, that's church, that's school, that's sports. They all start to come together if that's what you're going to spend hours and hours and hours of your day being this sort of person, you know? So that's a lot to say about Snapchat, right?
It is.
And there's some other practical, some day-to-day things that maybe not just Snapchat, but it goes for all social media.
Right.
And one of the big problems is it demands a lot of your attention.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I've been talking to someone, they're like, oh, I got a snap. And then they just send like a weird picture of their face and that's it. Like, okay, first of all, rude. Second of all, why are you communicating this way?
Right.
If you're sending a picture of your face to people and that's your main form of communication with them, what is the problem with that?
I think there's a lot of problems with that. I think one of the main problems is there's no substance. You're not talking about real life.
No.
You're talking about this fake world that you're creating for yourselves.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other problems is this. You are, from what I see of people Snapchat use, you're neglecting the people that you're in front of in order to participate in a Snapchat conversation.
Yeah.
And that is like, to me, like you're saying, is so rude and disrespectful. And like at its core, I think doesn't value community, real community, which is what Jesus tells us we should live in.
Yeah. So if you're feeling like, hey, I only have Snapchat because it's my main form of communication with people, I really want you to think about that choice because I think that seems really shallow and really unintentional towards your friends, right? If you're a Jesus follower, we should be better friends than that, right?
Yeah.
We should be the ones to at least send a text, right? But pick up the phone, schedule a coffee date, like be more intentional people than that. Seek to go deeper than that, than just sending a picture of your forehead.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I completely agree. So here's the thing. Whatever choice you're going to make and whatever choice your family agrees upon, that's for you guys to decide. We just want to give you guys our 2 cents about it and kind of answer this question of what's the deal with Snapchat, because for us, Snapchat is something that can be really harmful and dangerous to you. And we want you to just consider your choices. I'm not telling you can or you can't, but just consider what you're doing and why you're doing it and how that's impacting you as a follower of Jesus.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Asking for a Friend. We will see you next time.
Later.